I've been accused of making negative videos about looking old. What's wrong with looking old, critics say? After all, we are old, so why pretend? We should celebrate it and not try and chase eternal youth. But let's face it, and yes, I'm talking to you who've clicked on this video to find out if I have the secret to eternal youth. Because most of us would like to stay as young and vital as we can for as long as we can. So in this video, I'm going to talk to you about ways that we can look young without surgery or treatments and show our faces and bodies to the world with joy and pride at this time in our lives. Oh, and hello and welcome, or welcome back. I'm Des, a 70-year-old woman with a zest for life and for helping women to look and feel their very best. So to tip number 1, sit up straight. Now I'm talking to myself here, as well as to you all. I have a terrible tendency to round shoulders and to hunch as I sit and walk. It started around my teens when my bust started to develop and I was quite overweight, so I felt very self-conscious and wanted to hide my body. My mother, who was an actress, knew a thing or two about deportment, as we used to call it back in the day, and would get very cross with me about my round shoulders and was always telling me to stand up straight. But I struggled with poor self-esteem as a teenager, and I never learnt the benefits of good posture. But as I've aged, I've realised how bad it can be for us if we don't sit up straight. Firstly, we instantly look older because our jowls are more evident as they hang down. Secondly, our necks look crepey and wrinkly, with every crinkle and wrinkle visible to all. Thirdly, our bust will hang down, making our breasts look even more pendulous than they already are. Fourthly, and most importantly, rounded shoulders can lead to back pain, affecting our spine, and won't help joint degeneration as we age. So let's remember to stand up straight, imagining a thread is pulling us to the ceiling from the top of our head, so that we're looking straight ahead with our shoulders down and relaxed, and our tummies in, so we're comfortable but erect. Now, how much better does that feel? Tip number 2, wear a supportive bra. Now, as we age, and particularly over the last few years, comfortable bras have really become a thing. Who out there carried on wearing underwired bras during the pandemic? Not me. But although it's fine to let it all hang down, it really isn't a good look to let it all hang out or down when you want to present your best self to the world. So a supportive bra is a must. I can tell you that if I left my chest to its own devices, it would hang down to meet my waist. So I do understand the problem. But your clothes, and indeed your posture, will thank you for wearing a supportive bra which lifts and separates, to coin the old Playtex phrase. Clothes will hang better, your silhouette will look in proportion, and you'll feel so much better if you present yourself with a bra that holds your boobs in place. And a supportive bra is going to help you stand tall and proud, elevate your style, and help you to feel put together and ready to face the world. Tip number 3 is grooming. Now that's quite an old-fashioned word, grooming, isn't it? It's one of those words that takes us back to the 60s or maybe even the 50s. I remember as a 14 or 15-year-old going on a week-long modelling course at the Lucy Clayton agency, which wasn't just a modelling agency but did short courses for young girls, as we used to be called back then, to learn how to carry themselves and how to groom themselves so that they always looked well turned out. Gosh, aren't some of those phrases old-fashioned now? You never hear them anymore. So what do I mean by grooming? And why is it important to us in our later years? Well, if we want to present our best selves to the world, then there are certain steps that we need to take to ensure that we're doing that. And one of those is making sure that we look well turned out. So for example, we want to make sure that our skin is moisturised. Presenting to the world with dry, flaky skin is not going to be showing our best selves to the world, now is it? Now, I have been guilty in the past of not moisturising enough. You may be surprised to learn. I would slap on the vitamin C and then my SPF over the top, and neglect the moisturising step and then wonder why my skin was looking flaky towards the end of the day. This was in the days when I thought that my skin had enough emollients in it to keep my skin supple. But I realise now that I've just turned 70, that a switch seems to have been flicked, and my skin is drier and thirstier for moisture. So now I ensure, even if I'm not wearing any makeup, I cleanse my skin in the morning, usually just with warm water and a damp cloth. Then I apply moisturiser and then my SPF. That way I know my skin is looking supple and glowy, even if I'm not wearing any foundation or any other makeup at all, apart from the addition of some lip balm to ensure my lips are smooth. But there are other ways that we can ensure we look groomed. For example, dry, brittle, flyaway hair is going to age you faster than blow-dried or smooth locks. If I leave my wavy but thin hair to dry naturally, it can look great for about 5 minutes, but it soon ends up looking like a bird's nest. And frankly, it just looks a mess. I know I'm lucky in that my hair doesn't take long to dry, but if you want to present your very best self to the world, you do need to consider either blow drying your hair or using a diffuser or some cream if your hair is curly. Or of course you can tie it back in a ponytail or a bun like I've done. Even without any makeup on, if you followed step 1, you are going to look put together and polished. And talking of hairs, let's also talk about plucking and shaving. I'm quite lucky in that I'm not very hairy, except here, interestingly. So what I do is I shave my face about every 4 weeks, and I'll link down below for you the product that I use to do this. My hair does not grow back coarsely, it just eliminates it and then it comes back in a few weeks, but with exactly the same texture, so you're not going to get a beard or a moustache. And it really does help to keep my skin smooth, so I highly recommend considering shaving your face. And of course you can keep an eye open for any stray hairs that might suddenly appear on your chin. My 4th tip is to follow fashion, but don't be a slave to it. Now you might think, why should I follow fashion? That way madness lies in our 60s, 70s and beyond. I don't want to look like mutton dressed as lamb. I don't want to look foolish. I don't want to look like I'm trying too hard to be fashionable. But that's not what I'm suggesting. I'm suggesting that we check out what's fashionable and consider adopting 1 or 2 styles that might suit our shape. And we really don't need to look at fashion magazines to see what's fashionable. We've been wearing fashion trends on and off all our lives. And don't tell me you didn't wear a mini skirt back in the day. Gosh, I remember taking scissors to my longer skirts and cutting them and trying to hem them and ending up with hems on the diagonal. And I also had a pair of those awful white plastic boots. Eek! So we know how to follow fashion. We know where to look. We've only got to look in the shops, the boutiques, Instagram, YouTube. It's just that some of us feel that we're not allowed to wear these fashions once we reach a certain age. Well, that's complete BS. We can and we should wear what we want. If I want to wear kitten heel boots or barrel leg trousers, I will, and even together. Although to be honest, I really wouldn't wear the first because I did kitten heels to death in the early 2000s. And secondly, because I look like a clown in barrel leg jeans. But if I wanted to, I would. And so should you. Think of Lynn Slater, the accidental icon, or Helen Mirren. And actually, I must mention here one of my lovely subscribers who says that she uses Helen Mirren as a yardstick for her fashion choices. And if Helen would wear it, she goes for it. And so should we. We'll all have our role models. In fact, I was at a restaurant a couple of weeks ago and the wonderful actress Anne Reid, who used to be in Coronation Street back in the day, was in Last Tango in Halifax and Dinner Ladies, and she was sitting a few feet away from me with Caroline Quentin, another wonderful actress in her 60s. Anne Reid is nearly 90, but she highlights her hair, she wore a simple cream top, was drinking wine and eating dessert, and was using her iPhone and having a whale of a time. So she may be nearly 90, but she's in fashion. And that brings me to my 5th tip. Adopt a positive attitude. Do you find yourself muttering about how the world is changing and that things were better in my day? Do you find newfangled technology difficult to deal with? Look at people in the street as you go about your daily business with disdain if they don't dress or look the way you think they should. Admit it, we all do it, don't we? And we sometimes hanker after the good old days when the world seems simpler. But the world is what it is, and we can't, and really shouldn't want to, go back to the old days. We're all living longer, and thanks to the advancements in science, healthier. So we should be thanking our lucky stars that we live in this age of advancements in science and technology. Look, we know it's hard getting older because we know as time goes by, our time on earth is limited. But that's why it's important to relish every moment and seize opportunities with both hands. I've just turned 70, and it has made me reflect on what I want to do while I'm still fit and healthy enough to do it. I want to travel. I want to visit new places. I do have a bucket list, if you will, although I hate that phrase. And rather than loll on a beach like I used to do, I'd like to take some tours around Eastern Europe, visit Istanbul, maybe Egypt, see Copenhagen, go to Latvia where my grandparents came from. I've learnt to text with my thumbs rather than use one finger, so that I can message my friends and family more quickly, although sometimes the messages do come out as gobbledygook. But I've made myself do that, learn new tech, which of course I've also had to do to start a YouTube channel. But look at my friend Sandra Salin on YouTube. She's in her early 80s, or Rockstar Mom, also in her 80s. They're living life to the full. They enjoy playing with makeup and fashion, and that's keeping them young and vital. Having a positive attitude and putting one foot in front of the other every day, being a badass, if you will, is what we should all aim to be as we age. So there you have it. Those are my 5 ways to look younger instantly. So let me know in the comments what you think. I'm expecting a few. And if you've enjoyed this video, please do consider subscribing to my channel. And of course, give me a thumbs up if you've enjoyed it. I put out videos twice a week on Wednesdays and Sundays. And if you'd like to hear more from me, I have a monthly newsletter. And the link to subscribe to that is in the description box below. And in that, I don't just give lectures about how to look young. I also have beauty content, fashion content, and lots more besides. And thank you so much for watching. It means the absolute world to me. It really does. And I hope you're all doing really well. And I'll hope to see you in my next video. Bye.